Greetings, this is Katherine here to give viewer discretion, as despite my disbelief, because we're by a river, not by the sea, you are about to hear siren singing. Right about
When walks in woods turn into terrors, you get some questions and you take the answers. You don't settle for mysteries. When you see a ghost, you ask how it breathes.
An interesting point of contention in the siren community is their appearance, because as you may know, in their origins they are described more as avian hybrids, which by the way reminds me of something, rather than the fish and woman hybrid that we know today in pop culture. One theory is that the myth spread from Greece and Egypt trade routes, and that the origin was actually the Egyptian Ba. The main point of contention there lies between the views of Baker versus Busher, which is how I'm sure those names are pronounced. I'm not mispronouncing it at all. I assume you know the story to some degree. Odysseus is warned by a witch of the Sirens and is told to put ear wax into his ear. Was it just normal wax? Soft wax, okay. Ear wax. While his men put the wax in their ears, Odysseus, on the other hand, wanted to hear the siren sing. So he asked his crew to tie him to the ship and not let him go no matter what he says. They do a salt and pass the sirens unharmed. Then we get to Plato, yes, the philosopher Plato, and we see an interesting change in the perception of sirens. In Plato's viewpoint, sirens are these mystical and almost godly to be worshipped beings that guard the 8 spheres of heaven. Plato posed that celestial bodies exuded a sort of tone, like in music, and believed that sirens serve as angels. So here we start to see an interesting change where sirens aren't viewed as dangerous or ugly, heinous beasts, but instead as celestial beings, which for some reason Aristotle had a problem with. He didn't fuck with this theory at all. So what is the reality behind sirens? And how would I know anyway? Well, upon my field study of sirens, I actually came across one that I got into direct contact with. You may remember her as the siren who bit me so hard that I had to go to the hospital. Now, you may also remember that this was my emo fucking angsty phase, so I wasn't exactly favorable of anyone, and a siren biting me really didn't help. But the interesting thing is that this siren actually ended up visiting me in said hospital. It of course altered my perception a lot, and the more we talked, the more we found out we have in common. So it was thanks to this that I found out many things, starting with the Atlantic Exodus. I avoided mentioning mermaids for the duration of this entry, and that is because of a specific reason. And it is that mermaids and sirens are, ladies and gentlemen, indeed the same exact species. There's a few differences, sure, but it's mostly a societal difference that was driven for political reasons. There was basically a group of mermaid extremists who were sort of jealous of the sirens for being capable of changing their entire form and blending in with humans. So, through a great war, the sirens eventually lost and had to engage in the exodus and travel to places beyond the sea, beyond the ocean, to rivers and lakes, and that's why I was able to meet the siren in Admiria. Once we got to talking, we found out we have a lot in common, especially with some of our trauma. Her mom died at a young age, and she was only left with her dad. Her dad was this burly but nice Poseidon-looking guy who fought in the mermaid extremist war, and of course garnered a lot of injuries and things that he's still in the hospital for today. It was also then I found out that she was an artist, a real artist. She didn't care about fame or the number of people in the audience. I wish I could say the same sometimes. She taught me that I could be an artist too, in my own way. Taught me how to film, how to edit, how to play the guitar, a few chords anyway. There's another legend about sirens regarding Aptera, where muses challenged sirens to a singing contest and the sirens lost. The muses then forced the sirens to pluck their own wings. It's actually interesting that this legend exists because the siren I got to know just so happened to have a sort of religion. She believed that there were 8 muses watching over her and guiding her towards creating her art and, in general, just living. I mean, before you even knew it, we were traveling the world together. That was always her dream, and I was happy to oblige because I wanted to see it as much as I think anyone else. I don't think there's someone who's like so nationalistic that they would want to stay in their country forever and not even for 1 second set foot out elsewhere. But it was especially hardcore with her. I mean, she wanted to see everything, and to a certain degree, I feel like we did. There was this one time in Germany where she had to save me from a Krampus. Another time we were being chased by ghosts in the Paris catacombs. Saved children in Japan from Kuchisake Onna, and collected pages for Slender Man in Oregon. However, there was a slight problem in our relationship. I am an investigator, and an investigator asks questions. However, the siren felt that, for lack of a better term, I was dehumanizing her. She was right. I was nosy and I wanted to investigate her as if she was another subject to study. I didn't know how to talk to people like human beings. Hell, I rarely felt like one myself. I really wish things could have ended differently, but you learn and you grow. I mean, even after how it ended, I wouldn't change one thing, because it turned me into the person I am today. That's sometimes good enough. And so, as we left Oregon back to Admiria, she wrote me one last poem and gifted me her camera. The exact camera to which I'm speaking to you right now. If I hadn't been bitten by that siren that one fateful day, I don't think this web series would exist. If your blood were wine, I'd ask for a refill. Buy a chalice so wide not a drop could spill. Carry it with more strength than left in my will. And if your looks could kill, I'd look still. I am a half rhyme of contradiction. Create worlds to build our one. The key lies in flawless execution. A few more and I'm done. I know you are confused, but an answer requires a question. Our hearts are bruised, but the cure isn't obsession. Neither is any longing, though it appears in my writing. The truth is I'm barely surviving, painting instead of talking. Agreed to meet at the boulevard, yet I waited by the dam, because you stare at me as if I am art. Rather than the artist, I am. Chuck some water as you walk on fire, to show my devotion rather than my desire. It's been hard living with the fact that I never got to say goodbye to her. I never got to reply to that poem. Until now. So I say I love you in a million. I'm suspectingly admiring you, and I know life can be a drag, but it's more that I got your back. Let these memories, let them stay. Let them stay until night turns into day. Splashed water as I walked on fire. Show devotion rather than desire. So I say I love you in a million. I'm suspectingly admiring you, and I know life's a drag, but you know that I got your back. Let these memories, let them stay until time takes them away. You stuck in your head like somehow the sun came out at midnight. You say I love you in a million. Totally surprising, Katherine. Who knows? Life's a drag, but also knows that you got her back.
When walks in woods turn into terrors, you get some questions and you take the answers. You don't settle for mysteries. When you see a ghost, you ask how it breathes. If you were like this,